If we're going to move forward in our lives, it's important to know where we are right now. It's like weighing yourself before you go on a diet. You can't know where you're going until you know where you are. One of the best ways to get in touch with our state of mind is to journal, to get down on paper what we're thinking and feeling, and then look at it as a third party to assess where we are. On today's show, I'm joined by Kim Ades. We're going to talk about uncovering your frame of mind and using journaling to do that. It's on the One Simple Thing podcast.
It's time to build a better business by building a better you. This is One Simple Thing.
Welcome to the show. Dave Kirby here with you once again. So delighted that you have joined me. And we have Kim Ades on the show. We had her on the program way back when we first started, and I'm really looking forward to talking with her once again here today. Before we do, I'd like to invite you to leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Really helps this show, helps other people discover it when you leave a rating and review. Best way to do that, go to onesimplethingonline.com, click on Support the Show. You'll find it in the top menu, and it'll give you links not only to leave a rating and review on iTunes, but also to share on Facebook and Twitter as well. Hopefully you'll do that. Kim Ades is president and founder of Frame of Mind Coaching, as well as Journal Engine. She's a personal development coach. She is an executive coach, speaker, and author, and she's offering a free frame of mind assessment that'll help you uncover what's keeping you stuck. It includes a one-on-one consultation. You answer a few questions online, set up an appointment, and one of her frame of mind coaches will actually go through the findings of your assessment to see where you're stuck and where you can get some help moving forward. So take advantage of the free frame of mind assessment. Just click on the banner ad on the right side of the page when you go to onesimplethingonline.com. I'm going to welcome Kim Ades into the show now. Kim, thanks for being here today on the One Simple Thing podcast.
I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad we connected. We had you on the show back when One Simple Thing first started. I think it was probably within the first couple of months that the show had debuted. You were gracious enough to be with us then, so I'm happy to bring you back when we actually have a lot of listeners. So,
well, I'm excited to be here and to celebrate your success.
Well, thank you very, very much. We connected on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just happy to have you here. So, you have an organization, you have a strategy for coaching people. You call Frame of Mind Coaching, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
What is that?
So Frame of Mind Coaching, first of all, has a philosophy and a process that's a little bit different from the norm. So what we do is we look at how people think, and we look at how their thinking impacts their results. And the premise is this, is that your thinking really is the foundation for all the outcomes you have. So if you don't like what you're experiencing, if you don't like the results you're getting, a lot of people tend to jump into taking different action, and we don't do that. We don't encourage anyone to do that. What we encourage them to do is, before taking massively different action, let's start by looking at what thinking got you there, and then let's shift your thinking so that it's aligned with your outcomes. So that's the premise, is your thinking is the largest contributor to your outcomes than any other factor. And so how do we coach people? We examine their thinking. And the way we do that is, first of all, when we have our coaching calls, we record them so that our clients can listen to themselves and start to become observers of their thinking. They start to hear the language they use, the tone they use, the stories they tell, and they start to really pay attention to how they show up. And then the second piece of that is every single day for the duration of the coaching period, we ask our clients to journal in a private online journal with their coach. So they're sharing their journal with their coach. And that's happening every single day. So every time the client journals, the journal goes to their coach, who reads and responds to the journal. So they're in a dialogue with their coach every day. And the purpose of that is for the coach to start to pick up patterns of thought, patterns of belief, patterns of behavior, and really identify where a person's thinking is propelling them forward and where their thinking is really holding them back. So that's really, in essence, in a really small nutshell, what we do.
So, I never thought about it, but just as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, I've used the phrase perception is reality
Yes.
with regards to how others perceive me or what I'm doing, right? But it also holds true that my perception of myself is my reality.
Well, your perception of everything is your reality. Your perception of yourself, your perception of others, your perception of the economy, competition, everything you hear, smell, see, and touch is attached to a perception, and that perception will determine your experience of whatever the subject is we're talking about.
As you've dealt with many, many clients, and I know you have coaches that work with you in this process, and they've all dealt with many, many clients as well. Have you seen some patterns of some of the main things that people struggle with in their frame of mind?
Oh my goodness. Yes, definitely some patterns that are, let's call them universal. So a lot of people struggle with, we'll call them beliefs as opposed to perceptions, but they're not sure if, they believe maybe that they're not good enough, they're not smart enough, they're not equipped enough. They believe that life is hard, that it's challenging, that they have to fight for what they want. They believe that, things come to them not necessarily with ease. They believe that they have to prove themselves. I mean, there's a ton of beliefs that will hold somebody back. Like there's not enough money, that money is hard to acquire, it just goes on and on and on and on.
Are these things that we've, and maybe the answer is both, are these things that we've kind of concocted within our own minds, or are these beliefs based on things that have happened to us in the past?
Well, it's a blend of things, but definitely they're concoctions. Let's call them that. And where did they come from? They could have come from our upbringing. Like I just got off the phone with a gentleman who told me he grew up in a, in a fundamentalist Christian environment where money was the source of all evil, and he's a business owner. And that message kind of lives in his soul at some level, even though consciously he understands that that's not really necessarily true, but it still erodes his ability to completely let go and bust open his company and really make it truly successful. So it comes from our upbringing, it comes from our parents, it comes from the environment, it comes from the media, it comes from social media, and it certainly comes from our experiences. When we've had a bad experience, and let's go away from business for a minute, but let's go to the realm of relationships. When we've had a bad relationship in the past, chances are we're going to be gun shy about the next one, or we tend to get into the same kinds of relationships over and over again and not really understanding why we're drawn to things that aren't always the healthiest for us. So certainly.
Do you find that when people start to identify these things, that it's kind of like an onion that you're peeling off the layers? Are we able to really get down to that time or the root of where that belief came from?
Well, our job isn't necessarily to come to the root, but our job is certainly to identify the belief and how that belief affects a person's ultimate behavior, and to start to challenge that belief. So if there is a belief, for example, that money is the root of all evil, does that lead you to the outcomes that you want with respect to wealth and financial success? It doesn't. So that needs to be addressed. And the way that we start to challenge it is what's important, as opposed to what was really the root.
So how do we begin to identify these beliefs that have limited us or held us back or caused us to not go where we want to go?
Well, what we do is we start to pay attention to a person's rendition of what's happening or what has happened before. And in a person's language is usually like the gateway, the door that opens into identifying those beliefs. And so when a person tells a story and then another story and then another story, you start to find connections between each story, and that gives you access to the beliefs. And that's what we do. And we do that through the process of journaling, and we do that through the process of conversation.
So journaling, I know it may be foreign to some people. Maybe they've never done it before. Maybe it seems kind of intimidating, or it feels like you're talking to yourself or whatever. But that process of journaling is really, I know it's a cornerstone of what you do, but it really is a foundational element of us beginning to identify these areas we need to work on if we're going to move forward in those areas, right?
Yes, journaling is very interesting because it allows you to take your thoughts, put them down on paper or the computer, and remove yourself and see your thoughts sort of from a third-party perspective, so that they're no longer inside your brain, but they're outside of you. And when something's outside of you, you could assess it more critically and do something with it.
So I think for a lot of people, maybe it's intimidating, don't even know where to start. Do I just sit down on a piece of paper or on my computer and just start writing? Or are there some prompts that you offer that can help us start identifying these areas we need to work on?
Yes. So when we coach people, we offer them prompts. But for whoever's listening today, I would, with your permission, can I offer them 3 prompts?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and I'll even go a little further, but let's start here. Grab a piece of paper and a pen, and here are 3 critical questions that will help you start to understand how your mind works and how your mind sometimes works for you and how your mind sometimes works against you. So, question number 1, what do you really, really want? And you'll notice I have 2 reallys there because I want you to think about what you want, not what is expected of you, not what someone else wants for you, but what do you really, really want, truly, deeply. And that could be anything from a brand new car to something perhaps a little less tangible, like I want to feel a sense of peace. I want to feel a sense of joy. So write down what you really, really want. That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, why do you want it? Why is that important to you? And how would it enrich your life? And what would your life be like if you never had it? Would that be okay with you? So what's the impact of having this thing? And then question number 3 is, what's preventing me from having this right now? And write all the reasons. And what you'll find is that in those reasons are the starting point or the entry point to really looking at your beliefs and how they're affecting you. Now, for whoever's really bold, send your answers to me and I will make sure that someone reads it, one of our coaches, and connects with you and reviews them with you. So
a couple of questions with regards to this. So do I sit down in my journal? Do I answer all 3 of those questions at once? Or would you recommend
Yes.
I take a topic and then maybe spend a few days on each one, kind of really zoning in?
It doesn't matter. I mean, you could take time to do it, to fill it out. You can do, actually, ultimately, you can do this. You can answer them all quickly. And in a way, the faster you answer them, the better, because those are your knee-jerk reactions. That's the front line of your belief system that's getting in your way. So answer them fast. And then layer 2 is really think about it. Go deep with every question.
And that's one of the benefits of journaling, is that you've got it down on paper and you can go back and kind of revisit it and let it guide you.
Correct. It's amazing if you go back and read your journals from, even a month ago to see what you were thinking and where those things landed over time.
Yeah, it really is. Now, you offer a free frame of mind assessment. Is it going to help us go through these questions and identify these areas for us?
Well, the assessment asks a series of questions to help us understand where your starting point is, where you're oriented. That's really very, very important, because if we can understand where you're facing now and what you're grappling with, then we can help you get to where you want to go. So the starting point is super important. And so we're assessing you on a variety of elements, like your level of peace, your level of fun, your level of stress, those kinds of things, your level of satisfaction with your relationships. But in addition to that, we're asking some journaling questions that allow us to see what you're struggling with and how you think about what you're struggling with. Again, it's your perception, your interpretation of what's happening. And so being able to take the assessment and then review it with one of our coaches, that experience alone tends to have a profound impact for people.
And that assessment is free. We're going to tell you in a second how you can get it and go through that process. So, Kim, thank you. We are just getting started here with this idea of our frame of mind. And on the next episode, we're going to talk about dealing with challenges, or kind of put some of this into process here. So, again, thank you for being with me today. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you.
Kim Ades, my guest today on the One Simple Thing podcast. And again, she is offering a free frame of mind assessment. It'll help you uncover what's keeping you stuck. It includes a consultation with one of her frame of mind coaches. Take advantage of it today. You never know what one key insight you might get out of this assessment that could help drive you forward in your life. You'll find a banner ad on the right-hand side of the page when you go to onesimplethingonline.com. Click on that. It'll take you to the spot where you could sign up for that free assessment. Again, it's the banner ad for Kim Ades. You'll see it at onesimplethingonline.com. Thank you for listening today. Really appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to drop me a line, you could do so at my email address, which is dave@onesimplethingonline.com. That's with the number 1 in there, dave@onesimplethingonline.com. Or if you want to connect via text, the number 615 436-2626. Would love to talk to you. I'll talk to you next time. I know that. Well, at least I'll be here. Hopefully you will be as well on the One Simple Thing podcast. Thanks for listening.